Amina lived in a small village, nestled at the edge of a vast savanna, where the golden grass swayed like waves in the wind. The dry season was long, and the land was unforgiving. Her family had never known abundance. Her father, once a proud farmer who grew cassava and maize, had fallen ill several years ago. Her mother, a hard-working woman who sold vegetables in the village market, did her best to hold the family together. But no matter how hard they tried, they always seemed to be one step behind, chasing debts and hunger. Amina, the eldest of 4 children, had grown up too quickly. When she was little, she used to dream of becoming a doctor, of wearing white clothes and helping sick children. But as the years passed, that dream faded into the background. She realized that there was no money for school, no time for books. Instead, she learned to help her mother with the cooking and cleaning and to take care of her younger siblings. Amina was strong, but she was also tired. At 17, Amina's once bright eyes had become shadowed with worry. She could feel the weight of the world pressing on her shoulders, a weight that grew heavier with every passing day. The future seemed so far away, a distant land that she couldn't reach, no matter how hard she tried. The world around her was full of people who had given up on their dreams. Sometimes she wondered if she, too, would eventually have to let go of the person she wanted to be. Then one afternoon, as she walked home from a market, a man named Samuel approached her. He was well-dressed, his expensive clothes contrasting sharply with the dusty roads of her village. He smiled warmly, but there was something unsettling in the way he looked at her. She tried to walk past him, but he stepped in front of her. "You're Amina, aren't you?" he asked, his voice smooth and polished. "I've seen you helping your mother. You're a beautiful girl, strong and hard-working." Amina felt a flush of embarrassment. She wasn't used to compliments, especially from strangers. But Samuel's eyes held a kind of curiosity, as though he was sizing her up. "I have an opportunity for you," he continued. "A small favor, nothing too big, but it could change your life. I could give you more money than you've ever seen. Enough to take care of your family, pay for medicine for your father, and buy your younger siblings the things they need." Amina's heart skipped a beat. She thought of her father, bedridden and weak, and her mother, who had been coughing for weeks. She thought of her siblings who always went to bed hungry. Money. She needed it. But the offer felt wrong, a whisper in the back of her mind that told her to be careful. Samuel leaned in closer, his voice lowering. "Just once. You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. It's just a way for you to earn quickly. Think of it as a way to make your family's life better." Amina's thoughts swirled. She had always done everything for her family. But could this really be the answer? The decision, in the end, was made in desperation. Amina agreed, telling herself it would be just once. A quick, simple way to change everything. She didn't want to disappoint her family, who had so little. The money Samuel promised would be a lifeline. The first time was as cold and empty as she had feared. Samuel was kind enough, but there was something about the way he treated her, as if she were just another transaction that left a bitter taste in her mouth. The money was real, though. She took it and returned home, feeling like an outsider in her own body. But the money worked. Her father's health improved with the medicine. Her siblings smiled more, their bellies no longer aching with hunger. Amina could see the hope in her mother's eyes. It was easy to tell herself that it was worth it, that the sacrifice was for a greater good. But soon, one time turned into 2, then 3. Each time, Samuel's promises grew emptier. He was always smooth, always kind, but his words were laced with manipulation. He made her believe that what she was doing wasn't wrong, that it was just a way of surviving in a world that was too harsh for people like her. He made her feel like her dreams were impossible, and that this was the only way to make a difference. Each encounter took something from Amina. At first, she numbed herself, told herself it was for her family, but deep down, she knew she was losing a part of herself each time. She began to wonder if she would ever be whole again. The loneliness grew within her. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't recognize the girl who stared back at her. One evening, after another night with Samuel, Amina sat on the edge of her bed, the money in her hands but no joy in her heart. She stared out the small window at the dark sky, the stars twinkling in the distance. She had once dreamed of reaching for those stars, of becoming someone who could help others, someone who could make a difference. But now, she felt like the stars had dimmed, just as her own light seemed to fade. That was when she heard a knock at the door. It was a woman from a local organization that helped girls in vulnerable situations. She had heard Amina'S story from someone in the village who had noticed a change in her. The woman, named Grace, spoke gently, her voice filled with understanding. "I know what you're going through, Amina," she said. "I've seen too many girls like you, forced into things they don't understand. But it's never too late to change. You can take control of your life again. You don't have to do this anymore." Amina looked at the woman, disbelief in her eyes. Could she really leave this life behind? Could she really change? Grace extended her hand, not with judgment, but with compassion. "You have the strength to rebuild your life. Amina, you are so much more than what you've been made to believe. Come with me, and we will help you." It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the first time Amina felt a flicker of hope. She left Samuel, leaving the money and everything behind. The road ahead was not simple. She struggled with guilt, with shame, with self-doubt. There were days when she felt like giving up, but every day she took one more step toward healing. Amina enrolled in a local program to finish her education. It wasn't easy, and sometimes she would have to fight the fear that she was too broken to rebuild. But slowly, she began to find her way. She found solace in learning again, in discovering her worth beyond the money or the fleeting promises of people like Samuel. Years later, Amina became an advocate for girls in situations like hers, helping others find a way out of the same cycle of exploitation. She shared her story with others, not as a tale of shame, but as a story of redemption. She knew how dark the road could be, but she also knew how bright the future could become when given a chance to walk toward it. Amina had come a long way from that girl who once believed her only way out was to give up a part of herself. And as she stood before the girls she helped, offering them hope, she could finally see the stars again. It the limo tenor deserts and the process of reclaiming her life.